Good afternoon, YouTube. Today's date is June 3rd, 2019. Today I'm going to be working on my 2002 Ford Ranger, and let me get my fingers out of the way. I am going to be working on my gear shift selector indicator. First, I'd like to apologize for Mr. Wiggle on the iPhone. I have no way to hold it in position when I'm doing the video. So what's going to happen is I'm going to show you what I'm going to try to do and then show you what's happened afterwards. It'll be a little bit of a step-by-step. Let me show you what the selector's doing. It's going to make some racket. When I put it in reverse, I'm actually in the neutral position. You'll see we're just right there on the big N. I should be in over top of the R. Now this is actually neutral. When I put it into drive, I'm in between drive and the 2. There is an adjustment, it's a thumb screw adjustment on this particular vehicle, but I don't think this is going to be an adjustment. It's off quite a bit. And when it did this to me, I heard like a popping sound and it just jumped. So I'm thinking that something is broke inside, and I'm going to try to take it apart and see what it is I need. Let me ease the camera back a little bit. Things I'll have to take off is going to be this bezel right here. There's screws in this. There's one down here. There's another one down here. And I think the top of it pops out. I believe up here there's some push pins that'll pop it out. I'll get that out of the way. And of course, you know, like popping the lighter out, that's a piece of cake there. And this bezel right here, let me see, get my hands on this, will have to come out. There's a set of screws. There's one up there. There's one right here. There's one right here. I have to take that off. I'm also going to, see if I can get an angle of this. I'm going to take this plastic case off right here. There's an upper and a lower portion of it. Let's see if I can show this to you. There's a screw hole right there, and it's got like screws in the bottom. On the bottom, I think there's 3 screws in that holding it in. Now, I do not know if I have to take this panel out or not. I might not have to, but let me go ahead and start taking a few things off, and I'll stop as I get them off and show you where I'm at. Okay. I took the 2 screws out that was holding this in, and she just kind of eased over to the side. And what we'll do is I'm just going to leave this set off to the side over here, out of my way. And when I took that off, I did realize that I do have to take this panel off down here. Now, if you see, I have to take this off also, and there is another one right there. I need to take that off. There's 1 or 2 screws holding each of those in. I'll go ahead and get those removed and give you another look. Okay, we'll stop here for a second so we can show you what's going on. Let me get up here. This is the panel that was up underneath the steering column. I just ease that out. We'll set it off to the side. And what I'm doing, because it's such a short deal and I'm not going to be having this apart for a long period of time, when I take it apart, all I'm going to do is I'm just setting my screws right where I took them out at. These 2 screws came out of this. The screws that held this panel on, I'm just laying them right in the floorboard, right where they came out from. That's the end. These 2 held this in, and this one down here was the other corner. All of them are 7 millimeters. I'm just taking it out with my little 1/4-inch wrench in the 7 millimeter. In the top of this, it just has 2 little holes. Let's see if you can see those. There's one right there, Oh, I just lied to you. That hole is right there. And there is a push pin in the top of this right here. One there, and there's a one on the other corner. They just slide in and push that back in. Now what I'm going to do is take off this black cover. See if I can get a better shot of that for you. There we go. That black cover there, I think there's 3 Phillips head screws that go in from the bottom. I'll have to check that. Get that off, I'll get you another look. My fears have come true. I have to take this metal plate off right here, all across the bottom here. It's aggravating more than anything. It's not hard. It's just a bunch of 10mm screws. There's like 5 or 6 of them. But what it is right up behind here, there's 2 screws that hold this plastic piece on that I have to take off. So just to get stuff out of my way and make it easier for a fat old man to work on it, I'm going to go ahead and take it off and get it out of my way. I'll let you look at it when I got it cleared. Okay, this group of screws right here is the ones that come out of the pan. The pan is just sitting over here. I just pulled it out and laid it down on the seat. This is just what it looks like up underneath with the pan gone. Looks naked, don't it? There's the 2 nasty little devils right there. One there and one right there I had to mess with. That's no big deal. I'll take those 2 out. And let me see if you can see them. There's 1, 2, and 3. I'll take those 3 out. I think this will come out. This panel right here will come out. If anything hangs me up a little bit, it's going to be these 2 guys right here. All it means is I've just got to pull this panel forwards towards me a little bit and just disconnect these 2 sets of wires. I might pull them all the way out and just set it the panel to the side, or I might just see if it'll hang. Once I get there, I'll decide. I'm sure that most of you know this, but a little trick to getting this panel out right here, just put your ignition switch in the run position, pull your gear shift selector all the way down to the very lowest, which in mine is just number 1, and you'll be able to pull this side of the panel out like this, and these are push downs to slide out. I don't know if I want to be sure you can see that, because they'll do one of 2 things. This little pin right here, daggone it, my thumb's in the way. That pin right there, some will pop out to slide this cluster out, and some will push down. On this particular one, I think you push down on it. Let's see. Down. That. What I'm going to do is take it off and then show it to you, because I can't show it to you and hold this at the same time. Give me 1 second. This is my little buddy. Everybody should have one of these. I think I got this one from a Mack tool truck about 1973 or 74. They are cool for this right here. I hope you can see this. Let's see if I can get down closer on this bad boy. And let's see if it does what I want to do at once single-handedly. You can slide it up underneath something like this one and just ease up on it. And it'll pop that piece right out, just like that. And that right there is a lifesaver, especially when you're in weirded out little places. The site might like to see that. Hopefully it was helpful. It appears I've taken off more than I have to, because this cable right here is part of the gear shift selector indicator, and the cable I don't think is damaged, and neither is this, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to get you close enough to this where you can see this. See this red let me get you up in here. This red cable right here. That's not broke either. So that's a good thing. What is broke is this piece right here. And there is a small nut right there. I think I can take that off and hopefully I can get this piece right here. There's a piece of plastic on the end that's busted off of it. But I'll take that off and we'll make a run to the parts store and see what they can tell me. Okay, a little heads up. So far the only thing that was kind of bizarre as far as needing tools was this socket. This is a 5.5 socket. Everything else was done with a Phillips head screwdriver, a number 7 socket, and a number 8 socket. And that's pretty much it. Craziness about the whole deal, daggone piece of plastic is what's broke. This will fit on top of there. That little piece broke off. They just love plastic these days. Let me see if I can go find me one of these things. To the left, right here, this is the broken piece of plastic that I had to replace. If you purchase this from Ford, they want to replace the entire assembly. This includes the cable right here, plus the portion behind the dash in the cluster. What I did was I went down to my friendly neighborhood Advanced store and went to the Dorman help section. Young fella named Joe helped me out and pulled this up for me. There's the part number. And what their Dorman is doing is they're actually selling only the part that you need, and that's what breaks on this particular system. This is the weak link, I believe, in the system. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the box and get it ready, and show you a few things about loading it back up into the vehicle, and we'll go from there. Let's see here. So I can get this up here where you can look up at it. There's a little white clip. What I wanted for you to see was that this sits on a stud right here, and this piece will only fit on there one way. And so the idea is not to try to force it on there in any other way, because once you get it on there, your cable has to go in at that particular angle, and your thumb screw, which is this little guy right here, is going to slide up inside there. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just assemble it out here so you can see it. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is what she looks like. Where you at? There it is. Started. This is the cable. Here's your little piece that breaks all the time. What you do is you slide your thumb screw up inside here, start your threaded rod in, and just start rolling your thumb screw, and it'll go ahead and grab the threads, and it'll pull us through. And once you get this through far enough, and you can bolt this piece up to the little stud up underneath, you'll hook this to the little hook that I had showed you earlier, and then do your fine tuning with your thumb screw, and this will move this cable back and forth, and it will actually change the location of your gear shift selector needle. Once you'll get it in there, and it'll be in a location. Usually what I do is I'll go ahead and actually fire the vehicle up, and I can adjust it and put it in the gears that I want to put it in, and it be in the correct position. We'll do that a little bit later. Let me hook this all back up, and we'll go from there. Okay, we've done our fine adjustment with our thumb screw. You can see we're in the park right now. There's reverse. There's neutral. You can tell that by looking at your RPMs. Ease back up because we're out of gear. There's drive. I can feel the truck lock. Go ahead and go into drive. That's your second. That's first gear. Back up to park. Reverse. Neutral. And I notice I got a little bit of play in my gear shift selector right now. But the primary thing is that I can feel it when it goes into gear, and I'm actually in a designated gear. Okay. We'll start reassembling, and I'll let you in on it again. I'm going to assemble the collar that goes around the center of the steering column. I'd like to talk to you about it briefly. Usually what I do when I do this is I use the top portion. I'll put it on first, and I'll use the hole for the four-way flasher as your locator, and plus your gear shift indicator hole. What I see a lot of is, if you look at the bottom of this, you'll see that there are studs that stick up through it, and this is just nothing more than a plastic stud. Also, there's locators, like there's two right here, there's one right there, there is one right there, and another one in the corner. What I like to do is I like to put this on first and set it up there. And a lot of guys will go ahead, and when they put the bottom plate on, they'll get one of those electric screws, or electric toys that you can run screws in with, and they'll start running up in there. And what I like to do is just go into the bottom with the Phillips head screw. There's three of them, and what they'll do is they'll try to ram these in the holes first, and what happens is the stud will miss the hole, and they'll run the screw down beside it, and so what happens is the whole thing becomes cockeyed. So if you just drop your screw in there, you'll see that, let me get this over here, we can look at it. The screw actually sticks out quite a bit. Just flip it upside down and start all three of your screws, and let the screw do the starting. Don't be pushing on it or anything, because it's a nylon thread, and just pull them up a little bit each time, and let this pull this piece up, and it'll pull it up right where it needs to go. Once the screw stops turning, stop. You don't need to turn it anymore, because what's happening is if you pull it all the way up in there and it stops and you keep turning on it, you're going to tear the threads out of it. And yes, they are proud of this plastic. Just a note, hope it helps you out. Just one more note on dash work. In fact, anything for that matter. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this. It's like when you've got multiple screws, like this particular plate right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5 in it. Go ahead and start them all before you tighten any of them up. And another thing I like to do is like this one where you can see it. Come on, wherever you are. There it is. If you see when I move this up, you see the little witness mark on it. That's where the screw has been before. Use that for tightening it up, and it'll help you locate this plate exactly where it was before. What I like to do is, like, I'll locate one on this end, and then I'll come down here on the opposite side and locate one there, and use the little witness mark behind the flat washer, and it'll help you locate that piece of steel. Do one on one end and then one on another, seesaw back and forth until you get it squared away, and it should pull it up pretty snug and in the correct location. Because if you notice, when this, it does have some movement in it, so it does have some play, and it'll just make it a lot easier when you're trying to button everything back up. For instance, putting the smaller screws like these across the bottom here for the other plastic plate. Okay, we'll button her up and then get you another look at it. Okay, she's all buttoned up. Got everything back together. The gear shift selector indicator is in the correct location. Was able to put the little dash panel there. This just snapped in, and put the 2 screws in down here, and here. All it took to do the whole job was the Phillips head screwdriver, my little buddy, the 1/4" ratchet with a short extension. This is a 7mm socket. This might be the only thing that might give you trouble if you don't have one. That's a 5.5 socket. And I used a 3/8 ratchet with a number 8mm socket on it, on that big metal plate. I just did that because, I'm a fat old man and I was spooked about tearing up a 1/4" drive. Casualties of the battle. Of course, the part that started the whole hoorah, the little gear shift indicator that was broke. What I've got here is also, I broke off one of these little tabs that holds this little clip in place. And I call them titties, a little rubber baby buggy bumpers. It's got a little piece of nylon up in there that these things slide on, and I broke one of those off. Am I going to fret that? No. The vehicle's got 104,000 plus miles on it. It was manufactured in 2002. Am I going to spend another $80 for that plastic bezel that broke them 2 pieces of plastic off? Nah. I think I'm going to let this one go. Hopefully it was helpful. I enjoyed doing it. And thanks for watching.